Hello everybody, Thy Lord Root here, and welcome back to another episode of Fight for Survival. So, we're going to try to go to the moon today. I don't know how successful we'll be in that endeavor, and whatever happens will happen, but I think I've got a handle of Ferrum Aerospace now, and we'll just get on going. We'll get Job, since he missed the chance to be the first Kerbal in orbit. We'll get him going, and this is quite an interesting little rocket here. It's probably not the best rocket for Ferrum Aerospace, but I think I've learned a little bit more about it. So, what we'll do is we will get this guy up and going. And you'll notice we are faced to where north is 9 degrees. And we will have a small amount of change and inclination here. We want to take care of this early, or else we'll end up in a weird situation where we will basically not have, we are veering off a little bit too far. But, as I was saying, we'll end up in the situation where we'll be very highly inclined. But that is, for us, quite difficult. We don't really want to have that high of an inclination. We'll use SAS to try to stable us out a little bit. The important thing is that we remain in this prograde vector. And that we keep our time to apoapsis up, as we're not doing. You see, we're already several degrees up here. And a lot of that probably does have to do with steering losses, because we are moving quite fast. We probably do want to not let deadly re-entry kill us. We at least want to raise that apoapsis up to 30 degrees or so. We can correct inclination when we're higher up, but we want to definitely get ourselves going pretty fast. So we'll we need to pitch up a bit, not too much, so we don't flip out. We're already beginning to do so. And we just botched the mission, of course. So we are going to have to abort, which is a little bit unfortunate. I probably could have done it more easily with fine control, but to be honest, I've had like 5 or 6 pints in me, so it's not so easy to control. And unfortunately, I guess the only real thing we can do at this point is go retrograde and decrease. I mean, we may be able to raise our axis, but it's unlikely. We're just too. We didn't hit that critical threshold. So we'll just have to let that keep on going. And hopefully I will be able to get this guy going in the next time. Now, a lot of y'all may be saying, what's wrong with you? Why can't you get this thing out of the atmosphere? And it turns out, anybody who's played Ferrum Aerospace research will probably understand that we have to be very careful. If we're not, then we'll end up off target, which I don't want to do. I don't want a huge inclination correction. But we have to at least make it to our job. We'll live another day. And part of the issue is that maybe my rocket burned out before I intended it to. Our gravity turn was not quite the best gravity turn that I could imagine. That's going to be a problem because we're going to lose all of this fuel. With that having been said, I mean, there's really not much we can do about it except try to get Jub down safely. We did get the bigger tanks earlier, but it turns out I have no way to adapt the bigger tanks to our payload. Nor do I have the actual adapters for it. We will need another 40 or 50 sockets, probably. So we are unfortunately going to have to go retrograde. And that's just a fact of life. It might help if we have far up as well so I can see where max Q is. I've got a little bit more of an understanding of what some of these numbers mean. This CL here is the coefficient of lift. And ideally, we would probably want that at 0. Otherwise, we'll flip out. But the other thing we have here is the coefficient of drag. That has a lot to do with the shape of our vessel. If this thing were a half sphere, then it would have a coefficient of drag of, I believe, 0.01, oh pardon me, 0.01 something. I mean, I guess the point I'm getting at is that VAR does change the game a lot. Not really for the worst, but it does change it in the sense that you have to be very, very careful. We just happen to have too shallow of an approach here. And VAR does punish you quite a good deal for that. Not deploy that, and Jebediah Kerman is no more. That is unfortunate. He may respawn. But our reputation will go down. Because we just killed a Kerbal. Why is this Space Center? Why is this not able to deal with it? I mean, when it's funny, when I test this, I'm able to fly it perfectly. I guess Bob will have to be the first person on the moon now. Because Jeb is dead, or it'd be Bill. He gave his life valiantly for a pointless cause. But in vain. This time I'm going to turn on flying control. We must get to the moon. Bill may in fact respawn. Or Jeb rather, but... Whoa, I needed to pitch over. Quite soon. I didn't do that quite when I wanted to. oscillations from SAS now. Power bill, I probably will. We need to keep the sky stable. It's not my favorite thing that we killed Jeb, to be honest. I mean, we know he's a test pilot, but he's not. We really don't want him to die. We killed him. Well, I mean, I say we, I killed him. But it's... I mean, yeah, he'll respawn, because I have respawn. Maybe that's something I should do to make it more likely that we'll get, you know, to where we need to go to fail. But I think in combination with this guy right here, it does make things a lot harder. We'll ditch these kerbals. Let's see if we can raise our periaps a little bit. Correct our inclination as well. I would very much like for us to have a correct inclination. we have plenty of delta V to correct that. One thing I have learned is that you do want to correct your delta V as much as possible. Alright, that's going to be good enough for us for now. Let's set the moon as the target. Let's see if we can... What would be ideal is if we could burn directly to the moon. And we'll be in front of the moon if we do that, but that may not be so bad. It's not the world's best approach. We're pushing 900 something meters per second. But we'll just go and burn directly towards this moon of ours, and we'll maybe well, maybe do what we need to do here. It's if we can hit about 900. Or even less, then that'll be fine. We will, it looks like, end up in front of the moon. And that'll raise our periapsis a little bit, so we'll go for an even 27 kilometers. And we won't have the perfect inclination for this, but we will at least have somebody going towards the moon. I'm gonna burn at 1:04, I think. Except I overshot it by quite a bit. So we'll get rid of FAR for now. That flight data is no longer useful to us. It'll take about a day and 4 hours to get out there. But we are at least in orbit. And you know, really, it's kind of the trick with this sort of deal. Is that, it's very, very difficult to reproduce. Now, of course, my flying's a bit sloppy because I've been drinking, but you know, you're sitting here trying to reproduce that orbit, and you find that when you're recording, when you have to show people that you can do it, it's not so easy. I could do this in stock all day long. You've seen me go to the moon. Those of you, few viewers who have been dedicated enough to see my channel, y'all have seen me go to the moon on more than one occasion. There we go. That is about where we want to be. We still have plenty of delta V left on that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set Kerbal alarm clock to keep that going. And in memory of Job, we'll find his replacement. With the hope that maybe I will be able to rescue that Kerbal stranded in orbit. And that would be this guy right here. Perhaps. That seems about right. Now normally, I would... Oh, this guy is close enough, I think. We can wait for this guy to get about here. Mr. John or Kerbal, who has caused us so much trouble, will now be meeting up with us. And this time I'll try to do my gravity turn on time. To somewhat limited success, I fear. We'll begin that now. This will be a little bit harder for us because, well, for one, I'm apparently pointing in the wrong direction. Which means that we wasted money again. See, we got the whole wobbly thing going on because there's a lot of force on that. Let's see, there's really... Oh, and Bob's stuck in this time. That is fantastic. I guess we could have recovered that, but I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing, and to be honest, I don't want Bob to die. It'll be so lonely without him on this world, where rockets have suddenly become incredibly difficult to launch because I've been using FAR and because I've been piloting my rockets in a particularly poor way. So yes, he will be recovered at least. And I'm hoping that we'll get we're over Kerbal shores still. No new science. Or just time accelerate until he comes back down. I mean, once we're in space, it's not a huge deal. I can... Oh, well, it surprises me that that worked the way it did. Let's take a look at our finds. I mean, we're at a very, very bad place in our finds. And I think rescuing that Kerbal will be the only way we can handle that. We got some reputation back from that at any rate, you know, that reputation is well needed, but it seems like Jeb is permanently dead. So let's turn this thing in the right orientation. And in fact, I want something with thrust vectoring on it. Because that will help us get to where we need to go, but it's... Well, what did I do here? I meant to grab this guy. And we will simply get our TWR off where it needs to be. We don't want to put Bob in a plug orbit for sure. You know what just happened? Bob's stuck in again. This is are not boding well for me. We'll just move. We'll try not to waste this stage anymore. We've hit apoapsis. We'll just come on down here, and that's really annoying. I mean, it's... I really don't want Bob to be in there, because it's... I'm trying to rescue somebody, and Bob's trying to get his space legs going. Such as it is, I'm quite annoyed with that because I'm wasting funds as a result. And now I've got to make sure that he is well taken care of. So one more time. I mean, I know you like earning your ribbons, but seriously, like, I'm trying to meet up in orbit with this dude, and you're not helping much. So you stay out. So now we have an empty command pod. And we will rescue you. We've gone through too much trouble to rescue you. You better be worth it. Except... we're facing the wrong way again. I mean, there is something to say about the fact that FAR will make you rage quit. We'll just take this guy here and bring him out. Okay, we're pointed the way we're supposed to be. Why are we... And Bob's gonna sneak in again. Quit sneaking in, you sneaky bastard. Why you always gotta be sneaking into my command pod? I'm just going to let this happen. Because we managed to do it before. And I made it happen somehow. I'm not sure how I made it happen, but It did happen. And SAS is causing some kind of oscillation. Which is something that SAS will do. I mean, we just want to get in orbit and catch up with this guy. And, you know, we'll correct inclination as well as we can along the way, but it's not the world's easiest thing to do. It takes a little bit of practice, and I've still got to do a fair bit with VAR. Because the trouble you tend to run into with this aside from, you know, not getting your gravity turns correct, is you tend to run into this weird issue to where you're, where in our case, you've not much of a chance of you know, we've got to essentially go into a higher orbit. And we do have plenty of Delta V to meet up with this dude, but it's quite irritating to say the least, because we're not really where we want to be. We're at 102 versus 121. 114 versus 109. .108 versus 112. Well, I suppose that's circular enough. I mean, it's 113 versus 108. Can we do any better on that? I mean, would it be possible, perhaps, for us to actually at least get in a circular orbit? My guess is no. We require a lot of Delta V for that, although we have plenty of it. Still more than I would have preferred to expend. That's the nature of this sort of deal. We're still very, very highly inclined. Whoa, okay, I went too far. Let's see if there's a way that we can deal with that. What we should do at this point is we should probably burn in the sky's general direction, because our apoapsis is too low. Meet up with this guy pretty soon. Despite the amount of fuel we've spent trying to reach him. And I'm sorry, we'll just have to... We'll have to deal with the consequences of that. It's not the world's best rendezvous. We have 14 kilometers, that's actually quite good. And now we've got this still going on to where we can't decide where it is that we're going. But we will make this happen. Because I am sick and tired of this guy being in orbit. There we go. Okay, we are in physics range. And I believe we still have enough to where we can easily accommodate this dude. We just need to slow down, that's all. I'm just saying Johns are better feel special because we're having a hell of a time rendezvousing with them. Whoa! Okay, turn on your SAS. Quit spinning like a madman. And I promise not to make you spin out of control like that again. I probably should have been paying more attention to this whole deal with John Kerman. He's probably not in the best situation right now. I mean, we're moving at some 2 meters per second, which is absurdly fast relative to him. There we go. Johns, you're just going to have to help us help you. Except, Grand, you're out of Well, this is going to be interesting. He's out of VVA fuel because he is spent it all trying to correct his rotation. Which means, of course, we will have another dead Kerbal on our hands. Because now he cannot maneuver as he needs. And because we don't have RCS on this craft, that is going to be a problem. We now, at least if I don't want to cheat, and I don't really want to cheat, we have to come up with some novel way of getting them onto the spacecraft that does not involve us. Whoa. Okay, he's... Johnser, you gotta quit making this difficult for me. I know it's your deal. And that you're out of propellant, I understand that. But really, I mean, it's... How am I supposed to rescue you if you're out of propellant? I mean, the only thing I can think of is... that we, do something kind of like this, and you come up here, but that's not going to work, is it? You're... Maybe like that. Maybe you'll... Oh, you're completely dead in the water. This is one of the few times I'm going to do this. But I really see no other choice. Because I don't know if the game has just decided to infinite EVA fuel. Oh, come on. Well, Johnser, I'm sorry, but I really don't know what else to do besides to be merciful to you. Because you can't seem to, unless I could somehow get you. See, I'm trying to kick you back into the atmosphere so you don't wander around space forever, but it's. Even that appears to be a chore. And you're still in orbit. I mean, I'm trying to extend my mercy to you, but you seem to be not working with me. To be fair, physics may not allow it. And even if it did, I mean, there's just nothing we can do, John, so we're going to have to cancel the contract because as much as it is, there's really nothing we can do. So we've lost two Kerbals. We've failed a contract. And it's, one can only hope that as a result of this, I mean, maybe we'll be able to recover from the moon, but it's unlikely. Well, every good scientist has a lessons learned deal. Well, maybe not scientists as such. I mean, they would put that in the conclusion, but the lesson I've learned is that I need to put EVA fuel on this thing so that I am able to do something with it, so I'm not relying on this particular deal. I mean, at best we can hope that we'll be able to recover the cost of the pod. We are under 100 grand, which is, you know, I had hoped at this point that I would not have to grind any of this. If we can at least recover the cost of the pod, which is a dubious suggestion at best. And you know, maybe we'll be able to do something about this. Unfortunately, this space program has not gone well. Not at the moment, at least. But we're past max Q. And we have a moon landing to focus on. You know, maybe you shouldn't have been joyriding, Johns, or that's the only thing I can say. This entire thing could have been prevented if you had not been joyriding. Well, let's at least go through and at least get ourselves into some sort of orbit around the moon. We got 0 science from that. Recovered a little bit, but we're about to lose a ton because now we cannot rescue John, sir. And we've lost reputation. The only thing for us really left to do is to get this guy in orbit around here. And we're going to do that presently. We have plenty of delta V with which to do it. (32 by 23) would be our target orbit. But we'll get that going shortly. That's not going to be all that long of a burn. Despite my protestation to the contrary. I'm going to start burning maybe about 30 seconds in. I have a feeling this is going to be less than 30 seconds. And we'll get this going as quickly as we can. I mean, that's about as circular as I believe we're going to get at the moment. But while we're at it, you know, we can take a crew report at least. And we got 15 science from that. Why don't we take some other things? We have, an EVA report we can take here. And that'll be worth something. At least 24 science. And when we come back next time, we will utilize this. Until then, we have budget problems to worry about. And we also have science to do. I'm thinking we've got 94 science. We'll get the new interstage adapters. We'll get other things as well. That is going to be worth what we have. And we'll just take back what we have presently. But in the interim, we only have landing on the moon and recovering scientific data from the moon to worry about. So we'll take care of that in the next episode. But until then, this has been Thy Lord Root, and I will see you next time.